her father dies. He was an alcoholic. He has no money. And basically, they have each other. So it starts out as a real romantic sexual relationship, by the way, but it quickly turns into a partnership. And many people will think about the pandemic or great recessions. How do you survive with your partner? You got to get through it. And Amelia and George decided they're going to get through the Great Depression. And in addition to all this, if for anyone who's interested in storytelling, and I know you are, Chris,
Yeah.
um, another character in the book, beyond all these people that I'm mentioning, is are locations. So New York is a character,
Yeah.
Kansas is a character. I mean, if you're where is your book set? What time is it in? Like so for example, I was in Antarctica because even though there's not much change in terms of what it looks like, I wanted to feel feel Antarctica. I wanted to see details that, I couldn't just Google. I always tell people when I was working about a book about Antarctica that I got there and I didn't realize that all the different penguins that you see are not in the same place. So you see these tiny little Adelie penguins in one area, but as you get further closer to the South Pole, you see the giant empire penguins at like from Happy Feet, and they're
Yeah.
not in the same place. Those penguins will never meet. And also, where you go to the penguins, it smells like a cow barn. Like
Oh,
that's something I would not have. I mean, like you could put like the senses in your book. And also, I my original draft was all white, everything, and then you realize it's like there's different colors, there's sunlight, there's blood, I mean, there's just all sorts of things you can go. Likewise, when you travel for and with the Amelia Earhart book, I was able to understand the fog of being trapped on Newfoundland. She couldn't actually go across on her first trip for 2 weeks, and she was stuck in a small town. And I went to the same town, and I actually had dinner with the descendants of the people that hosted her in 1928, and
oh,
they
wow.
brought out they brought out a scrapbook. I mean, no one, if you go there, people bring out things like, oh, here's when Amelia was here. I was like, what? I mean, you have to get off of the couch. I'm sitting on a couch telling you this, but I that's the biggest problem I find with my youngest students at NYU, many who are like 23, 24. My daughter is 23. They grew up in the pandemic and we're doing a Zoom conversation, but they don't know that, just calling someone on the phone is not research. You got to go out the door, maybe get past your comfort zone and go to the place. And if you don't have any money, you get on some, like, I don't know what the equivalent of Greyhound is in the UK. You get on a bus. We have even Chinatown buses that connect all the Chinatowns in America, and they're like really cheap. They're like $13 to go across. Just get
Yeah.
on that. Go couch surf. Whatever you have to do, get to, put on social media. I am going to this location. Can anyone host me on the couch? I just need to be there for a day. Go to the places because that is going to open up doors. Whether you're writing in fiction or you're doing nonfiction, you've got to have a sense of place. And when you go places, you meet people and you have much more depth to your story.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I spoke to interview Candice Millard on this podcast a while ago, and
Uh-huh.
she said something similar because her last book was on the Nile, and she actually went to the Nile. She done a book on Churchill, and she actually went to Africa where she was talking about Churchill. She done exactly the same as you have, and I've
She's
spoken.
my idol, by the way. She is, when I was mentioning names, she actually blurbed my book. I almost fainted, by the way. She's
Uh,
amazing. And her footnotes are amazing. Like at the end, you just like it's like don't just read her book, go to the end and read the notes. You'll be amazed. But she once said, I went to a lecture. I mean, just like people might be listening to me for inspiration, I go often to author lectures and listen to podcasts, whatever. But I went to a lecture she was giving, and she was saying if you're doing a big narrative nonfiction book and it comes in under 4 years, she doesn't quite trust the book. And I get
yeah,
that completely because this is not for the weak. I mean, you do get a lot of money if you got a good topic, but that money goes, you go through that money if you're doing your job. You use that money to travel. You don't just like, go out and buy sushi, right? It costs money to travel. And also you're getting paid as an author in chunks. So you're not getting a monthly salary. You're not getting paid every year. So you might get this big chunk of money and that's got to last for 2 or 3 years, right?
Hmm.
Then you get another chunk of money. When I actually should be getting chunk of money in 2 days. Because you get another chunk of money when the book comes out. My pub date is July 15th. And it's also coming out as an audiobook. I don't know if anyone in England, I mean, everyone's heard of The Man from Uncle, but there was
Yeah.
a short-lived show called The Girl from Uncle, which was starring Stephanie Powers, and then there was a television show called Heart to Heart, which was a big
Yeah,
American
Pacific
show.
Islands with Robert Wagner in
Stephanie
it.
Powers is my audiobook narrator. I'm just so excited about this.
Oh gosh,
Right.
yeah.
And she also was a pilot. So here's the thing. Someone reached out to me and said, I have this crazy idea. Would you like Stephanie Powers? And I was like, well, I'll introduce her to Penguin Random House. And they said yes. So like reach out. I mean, Chris, you reached out to me and I don't know you, but I was like, sure. Like go out of your comfort zone, ask people. The worst thing that you can happen is get a no.